Sasuke quickly noticed something strange about Naruto, and used his Sharingan to directly communicate with the Nine Tails inside him. The Nine Tails was surprised by Sasuke's presence, remarking that Sasuke's chakra was almost identical to Madara Uchiha's. This was the ultimate confirmation of Sasuke's power. Just as Sasuke was about to test out his new technique, Orochimaru and Kabuto appeared. Kabuto suggested that Sasuke should let Team 7 go, noting that their reasoning, though seemingly ridiculous, wasn't entirely without merit. He mentioned that keeping Naruto alive would weaken the Akatsuki, and also aid Sasuke in his revenge against Itachi. Sasuke reluctantly agreed, and the three of them then vanished from sight. You might not know this, but before Danzo leaked the list of Onbu members to Orochimaru, Tsunade actually had a decent opinion of him. Even though Danzo often acted recklessly, he still seemed to genuinely care about Konoha. However, once Yamato informed Tsunade that Danzo had sold out the village's secrets to Orochimaru, Tsunade became much more cautious of him. At that point, Danzo, in her eyes, had turned into nothing more than a scheming, power-hungry villain. This episode showcased Sai's most significant transformation. Due to his relationship with Naruto, Sai no longer wished to return to the Root organization after reporting to Danzo. Danzo sensed Sai's hesitation and warned him against developing unnecessary emotion, as hatred was the root of war and stemmed from such emotion. Although Sai acknowledged Danzo's word, he couldn't resist the allure of Naruto and Sasuke's peculiar brotherly bond. Sai tried to fit into Team 7 by making some effort. He even went to the library to find books on how to communicate with others. However, his attempts often backfired. For instance, when he called Sakura ugly, even Naruto ended up suffering the consequences. Kakashi, who had been bedridden at the Konoha hospital for 2 weeks, mistook their injuries as signs of jealousy over Sakura. Returning to the main topic, Kakashi learned some information about Sasuke from Yamato, and became aware of the significant gap between Naruto and Sasuke's ability. To address this, Kakashi decided to arrange a special training regimen to enhance Naruto's strength. At that moment, Asuma entered the hospital room with Team 10. Ino was immediately drawn to Sai's appearance, which resembled Sasuke's, suggesting that Sai's resemblance to Sasuke might have influenced Ino's interest in him. Naruto's chakra reserves are enormous, aren't they? We know that Naruto's chakra levels, while in a state of coexistence with the Nine Tails, are 4 times greater than Kakashi. But you wouldn't believe that if Naruto wasn't a Jinchuriki, his chakra levels would be 100 times greater than Kakashi's. Can you imagine what that means? Now we understand why Sasuke learned the Chidori in just half an episode, while Naruto took 2 episodes just to get comfortable with wind style. Throughout Naruto's training, Kakashi provided theoretical knowledge, while Yamato offered guidance. Additionally, they spared no expense in hiring Asuma, an expert in wind style techniques, to teach Naruto his unique method. No wonder Naruto's progress has been slow. It's because the Nine Tails has been holding him back. Why is it that Naruto's initial chakra nature is wind, while his son, Boruto, exhibits lightning? In the world of Naruto, there are 5 basic chakra nature transformation. Most ordinary ninja can only master one throughout their life. However, Boruto is not an ordinary person. His initial display of lightning nature was simply to distinguish him as having talents surpassing Naruto. After all, both Hinata and Naruto, by the end of Naruto Shippuden, possessed lightning nature chakra. Therefore, it's not unusual for Boruto's initial chakra nature to be different from Naruto's. Stepping aside from that, when Kakashi was teaching Naruto theoretical knowledge, he specifically used examples from the Uchiha clan. Members of the Uchiha clan are generally adept at fire nature chakra transformation, so they are usually skilled in fire style technique. Among them, prodigies like Sasuke, who could master both lightning and fire nature transformations at the age of 12, are exceptional. In episodes 276 to 290 of Naruto, the subplot focuses on the Fire Temple, which serves as a setup for the upcoming main storyline involving the destruction of Fire Temple by Kakuzu and Haiden. This subplot delves into the background of the Fire Temple, as well as the origins of the 12 Guardian Ninja. Interestingly, at the beginning of this arc, there's a moment involving Sai that I found quite endearing. He tries to comfort Naruto by following a method he read in a book, sneaking up to him when he's feeling down and unexpectedly hugging him. This almost leads to them kissing, much to Naruto's surprise, who quickly backs away. Later, Naruto visits a graveyard out of curiosity, and ends up getting into a fight with Sora, who mistakenly thinks Naruto is a grave robber. Sora uses a jutsu similar to Wolverine's claws, and has wind chakra nature. Wind chakra nature is known for its long-range offensive capability. Just as their fight becomes intense, Chiriku and Yamato arrive and separate them, resolving the misunderstanding. They then accompany Naruto to the temple, where they learn about the history of the 12 Guardian Ninja from Chiriku. Afterward, everyone followed Chiriku into the temple. When Naruto asked whether the person in the grave they had just seen was a good or bad person, Chiriku began to tell them about the past of the 12 Guardian Ninja. The story goes that among the 12, who served as the Fire Daimyo's bodyguards, there was a radical member much like Danzo, named Kazuma, who was Sora's father. Kazuma had extreme ideas. He wanted to unify the entire world under the Fire Country's rule. His plans were not only to destroy Konoha and reclaim control over the ninja, but also to wage war against the other 4 great nations. Naturally, the moderate members, led by Chiriku and Asuma, had to stop him. This led to intense infighting within the group, eventually causing the once powerful 12 Guardian Ninja to fall apart. Kazuma, who caused this division, becomes the final boss in this arc. Although Haiden's attack speed is the slowest among the Akatsuki members, anyone who can easily dodge his attacks must be a skilled fighter. At this moment, Kakuzu and Haiden were slowly emerging from an underground tunnel. From their conversation, it was revealed that the beautiful woman with braids and a strong, confident aura was their target, the Jinchuriki of the Two Tails from the Hidden Cloud Village. Haiden took out the ritual item he always carried for his Jashin worship and was ready to perform his complex sacrificial ceremony at any moment. The proud and arrogant Yujito was enraged by their dismissive behavior. Without saying much, she transformed into a cat demon, her entire body engulfed in blue chakra flame. At this moment, in the presence of the enormous two-tailed demon cat, Kakuzu and Haiden appeared much smaller by comparison. Kakuzu even thoughtfully reminded Haiden to be careful, warning that things could get deadly. Faced with the Two Tails' powerful strike, coupled with the continuous barrage of massive fireballs spewed from the cat demon's mouth, they had no choice but to focus on escaping for the time being. Not long after, the entire structure was reduced to rubble under the continuous attacks of the two-tailed demon cat. The two fighters leapt apart, and it wasn't until dusk that they managed to capture the Two Tails, pinning it to a stone pillar. We know that Yujito can fully transform into her tailed beast, and after transforming into the Two Tails, her body was enveloped in that troublesome blue flame. It's clear that when the two first confronted her, they were at a disadvantage. But somehow, in the next scene, she was pinned to a stone pillar, barely clinging to life. Since the battle to capture the Two Tails was glossed over by Kishimoto, we're left to fill in the gaps ourselves. From the beginning of the battle, with Kakuzu and Haiden only being able to defend, there was no way they could have beaten the Two Tails in a straight fight. I think their only way to win was by relying on Haiden's curse technique. Since Yujito wasn't aware of Haiden's ability, all they needed was to successfully obtain a drop of her blood to turn the battle in their favor. But with the Two Tails being completely engulfed in flame, getting her blood was no easy task. So, who managed to get the Two Tails' blood? I believe it was Kakuzu. After all, only Kakuzu's unique body structure could have allowed him to endure a powerful attack from the Two Tails and still move freely. Kakuzu would have taken the blood while Yujito was distracted, and then handed it over to Haiden to use his curse technique. Although it was Haiden who ultimately defeated the Two Tails, the key to their victory was Kakuzu. Without him, Haiden probably wouldn't have survived long enough to get that drop of blood from the Two Tails. However, they eventually managed to capture the Two Tails and immobilize it on a stone pillar. Chiriku truly lived up to his reputation as a wise monk. Even when facing formidable enemies, he remained calm and composed. After raising one hand to the sky, the magnificent thousand-armed cannon appeared behind him, standing tall before Kakuzu and Haiden. Haiden, however, disregarded this entirely and charged at Chiriku with his three-bladed scythe. The result was exactly as expected. Both he and Kakuzu were soundly beaten, unable to fight back at all. By this point, the two were already beaten to the ground and unable to stand. Haiden, sticking to his own rules, suggested continuing the fight, to which Kakuzu agreed with one condition, that Chiriku's face not be harmed. Haiden then rushed forward once more, but this time Chiriku got serious. He unleashed his signature move, the miniature version of the true several thousand hands technique, known as the thousand-armed murder. With golden chakra fists, he relentlessly pummeled Haiden at super speed, causing Haiden to cry out in pain. In the end, Haiden couldn't even get close to Chiriku. With no other choice, Haiden asking for help, Kakuzu summons a monstrous creature using his tentacles to attack. Due to Kakuzu's action, the fire temple suffers severe destruction, and the monks within are not spared from the tragedy, with casualties everywhere. After the smoke gradually dissipates, Haiden remains lying within a drawn circle, devoutly praying to the deity he worshipped. Once Haiden's ritual concludes, Kakuzu finally rises and grabs the collar of Chiriku's clothes, hanging his lifeless body on his back. As the two walk along the road, their differing ideologies spark another dispute. Kakuzu then threatens Haiden, saying, "Don't worry, once we've captured the tailed beast, I'll personally send you on your way." Sensing Kakuzu's genuine anger, Haiden reluctantly complies, following behind Kakuzu as they slowly head towards the Black Market Exchange's location. When Kakuzu arrives near a restroom, he suddenly enters, with Haiden following suit, thinking Kakuzu needed to relieve himself. After entering the hidden door, Kakuzu proceeds to the location where he intends to exchange Chiriku's body for a reward. Witnessing this, Haiden expresses disdain for the fact that the exchange is happening in such a place, which turns out to be more of a mortuary than a money exchange. The walls are lined with compartments used to store bodies. Following the standard procedure, once Chiriku's identity is confirmed, the attendant retrieves a box from a nearby corner corner. The box contains what appears to be a large sum of leaf currency, amounting to 30 million. Unable to tolerate the foul odor, Haiden urges Kakuzu to quickly take the money and leave. However, Kakuzu insists on counting the money meticulously, demonstrating his attention to detail due to his financial background. Unable to wait any longer, Haiden curses and leaves the exchange place, sitting on the stone steps outside. Sensing someone approaching from behind, Haiden assumes it's Kakuzu, but is surprised to find Asuma, a leaf jonin, who has hurried from the fire temple to track down the culprit. When Asuma launches a sudden attack, Haiden quickly defends himself with triple-bladed scythe, but is caught off guard by Shikamaru's shadow imitation jutsu. Izumo Kamizuki and Kotetsu Hagane then emerge and attempt to strike Haiden's vital points with steel knives, but fail to kill him. Witnessing Haiden's resilience, Asuma and Shikamaru are stunned. Just as they struggle to deal with Haiden, Kakuzu arrives and releases Haiden from Shikamaru's technique, leading to a standoff between the two sides. Haiden then draws a circle around himself using his blood, calmly telling Kakuzu that he looks forward to seeing if they can kill him. Drawing his steel blade, Haiden jumps into the air alongside Asuma, who wields the wind blade, initiating a fierce battle. In their frontal confrontation this time, Asuma manages to hold his own against Haiden. However, Asuma has a lower-grade version of the thousand-armed murder technique taught to him by Chiriku, which not only defends against Haiden's attacks, but also manages to knock him back. Just as the two are locked in a fierce battle, Haiden suddenly changes his strategy, and Asuma falls into Haiden's trap. A deliberate backswing of Haiden's triple-bladed scythe Asuma's cheek, drawing blood. As the evil scythes taste blood, the gates of hell swing open. With all conditions now met, Haiden finally initiates his death-controlling blood technique. In this state, any damage Haiden sustains is also inflicted on Asuma, whose blood is connected to Haiden. This explains why Asuma suffers severe burns when activates his fire release ash pile burning. With a malicious grin, Haiden prepares to plunge his black spear into Asuma's heart, aiming to end his life. However, Shikamaru realizes that Haiden must remain within the blood-painted symbol when cursing others, prompting him to use his shadow technique to restrain Haiden out from the formation. When Asuma pierces Haiden's ear with a flying blade and confirms his lack of injury, Shikamaru quickly binds Haiden with the shadow sewing technique. Just as Haiden pleads for Kakuzu to come help, Asuma rushes forward and beheads him in a swift motion. Left disgruntled and battered, Haiden begins to complain about Kakuzu's slow response, but quickly displays a strong desire to survive upon hearing Kakuzu's reprimand. Ignoring Haiden's words, Kakuzu moves to Haiden's severed head, choosing to picking it up as it's much lighter than his heavy body. With Haiden's head in hand, Kakuzu tells him that since he's asked for help, it's his turn to act. With that, Kakuzu leaps forward, stepping on Asuma's injured leg, and swiftly knocking him to the ground. Kakuzu then stitches up Haiden's neck wound, restoring him to normal. Once recovered, Haiden resumes his attack on Asuma, while Kakuzu goes to deal with the nuisance caused by Kotetsu and Izumo. Although Kotetsu and Izumo are only leaf gatekeepers, their coordinated attack proves to be quite troublesome for Kakuzu, forcing him to resort to his tentacle to bind and restrain them. The focus now shifts back to Haiden as he steps into the circular blood-marked symbol once again. Just as Asuma declares he won't fall for it a second time, Haiden laughs and calls him a fool, explaining that his curse remains effective as long as he returns to the symbol. This time, Haiden finally gets to taste the pain of killing Asuma, as Haiden plunges the counterattack spear into his own heart. Despite Shikamaru's extraordinary intelligence, he feels utterly helpless, forced to watch his beloved mentor being killed before his eyes, unable to do anything. This time, even Haiden goes against his usual behavior. He skips the lengthy ritual typically performed after cursing someone, and quickly returns to his usual state. Just as Asuma's team is about to be wiped out, Leaf Village's rescue squad finally arrive. Yamashiro Aoba releases Crow, and with the help of skilled assassins Reito Namishi with poisonous black blade, Kakuzu's face is slashed. Then, under Yamashiro Aoba's cover, Shikamaru and the others prepare to retreat with Asuma's body. However, Kakuzu refuses to relent, and Yamashiro Aoba as Tokubetsu Jonin, having guarded the 4th Hokage before, proves to be exceptionally skilled in close combat against Kakuzu. As the two engage in hand-to-hand combat, Pain sends a message through a long-range communication technique, urging them to return immediately, as sealing the two tails is urgent. Despite their reluctance, they obey the leader's command and leave. After leaving the exchange office, Kakuzu and Haiden find a secluded spot in the mountains and sit down. Using Pain as a medium, their brainwaves are quickly received and enhanced by Pain, who is sitting at the top of the Rain Village's tower. Their fantasies are then projected to Akatsuki's secret base, using Pain's Genjutsu technique. The Akatsuki organization's ritual for sealing the tailed beast is mostly realized through this Genjutsu, which summons members. They sit in the drizzle for 3 days after sealing the two-tailed. Following Kakuzu's advice, they choose a rarely traveled path and head straight for Konoha. Although their movements are extremely covert, they are discovered by a hawk controlled by Ino's mind-body switch technique. Subsequently, the Revenge Squad, following the strategy previously devised by Shikamaru, launches their attack. Despite Kakuzu and Haiden evading Shikamaru's initial moves, they are forced to use their full capability. Even the steel ropes of Haiden's triple-bladed scythe are shattered. Shikamaru becomes even more aggressive, leaving Kakuzu and Haiden with little response time. Soon, he launches chakra blades with explosive tags attached, aiming at Kakuzu and Haiden. While the two focus on evading the explosion, Shikamaru outmaneuvers them. With a cunning move using the shadow imitation shuriken jutsu and chakra blades as anchored, he successfully triggers an upgraded version of the shadow imitation jutsu, forcibly immobilizing them. This technique not only overcomes the weaknesses of the shadow imitation jutsu's range and shadow length, but also makes it harder for enemies to detect. Using the shadow imitation jutsu, Shikamaru then manipulates Haiden's body and attacks Kakuzu, who is immobilized alongside. True to their nature as Akatsuki members, they are all extraordinary individuals with superpowers. Shikamaru marvels at Kakuzu's surprising ability. Then, Choji descends from the sky and crushes Kakuzu with his human bullet tank. Despite Choji's loud entrance, when the smoke clears, Kakuzu remains standing completely unharmed. As Kakuzu boasted about his immunity to all physical attack, Kakashi, who had been lurking in the shadows, saw Kakuzu's vulnerability and immediately launched a surprise attack without hesitation. With just one strike of Raikiri, Kakashi pierced through Kakuzu's back. As Kakashi prepared to charge towards Haiden, ready to strike, Kakuzu unexpectedly resurrected. Then, Kakuzu declared that the charade was over and revealed his immortality. He discarded the Akatsuki cloak and summoned 4 crudely designed mask creatures. Though these creatures seemed simple, they were formidable because they contained the hearts Kakuzu had taken from their previous owners. Kakuzu's arrogance was evident, but he seemed unaware of the fatal curse of stripping off his clothes in Naruto series. If Kakashi hadn't used his Sharingan to foresee Kakuzu and Haiden's movements in advance, they might have met their end there. In the past, Kakuzu and Haiden had collaborated to enhance their speed in defeating enemies, using a combination technique called Kyoetsu Shikyoku, Ultimate Death Beyond Terror. This technique involved Haiden slashes the opponent with his scythe and curses them with his curse technique. Kakuzu then uses fire release, lightning release, and wind release on Haiden, creating a great explosion. Because of Haiden's curse, the opponent takes the same damage as he did. With a single wind release pressure damage attack from Kakuzu, Kakashi was sent flying, allowing Kakuzu to unleash a barrage of lightning release jutsu from the demonic mask creature's mouth towards Shikamaru and Choji. If not for Kakashi's timely arrival using the S-rank technique Raikiri, both of them would have struggled to counter the lightning release assault. Haiden, with impress, praised Kakashi for being the only one so far not killed by that move. Kakuzu then unleashed a fire release, Zukaku, intelligent hard work, jutsu from the obese fire mask creature's mouth, engulfing everything around in flame.